Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. This is your host, Bad Luck Chuck. We are back at it again. It is official. We have our first Red Friday of 2021, people. The 2021 regular season, to be exact. As we're going to take on the Cleveland Brownies in week one out here in Arrowhead, a.k.a. GEHA Field, or Yeehaw, however you want to call it. But over to the top right-hand corner is my guy, Country. And to the bottom of the screen is my guy, Boogie. Our special guest will be on here in a sec. But first off, fellas, how you guys doing, man? Y'all excited? Y'all excited for the first official game of 2021?
Ready for some football. This is our first full season doing shows. We're gonna make it through, bro.
It's crazy how it's almost been a year, bro. We approaching a year, man. Like
2 years.
Well, yeah, but like just for us being consistent, getting that consistency, yeah, we'll be close to a year on that. What's up with it, Markel? What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Eddie? Hi. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
RJ going at you already, bro.
Oh, for the smoke alarm. I need a ladder. I don't need batteries. I got batteries. I need a ladder to get to it. It's way up there.
Yeah, I might help you out with that. But anyway, man, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the first official game, dog. Like after basically the first preseason game, I was just like, man, when the real thing gonna start? When the real thing gonna start, man? And we getting close, bro. Cause like, I'm just looking forward to to seeing all the stars out there for full 4 quarters. We just hope that everybody is in good health and everything. So I'm looking forward to that, and also fantasy football and all the other stuff too. But anyway, everybody knows that there was a game last night. There was an official NFL game that counted last night. Cowboys and Buccaneers. It was a great game, down to the wire. Tom Brady added to his legend once again. Had like a minute 43 left and pulled out the dub, sucked it with the game with a field goal. So I just want to go around the room here, man. Country, what did you think about the game last night?
A good game, back and forth game. Dallas left too much time on the clock, and you know what Tom Brady gonna do, and you know what the refs gonna help him do. But they left too much time on the clock, and they weren't up by enough to. They played a hell of a game though, and they didn't capitalize off their turnovers like they should have. The field goal kicker missed some kicks, so ain't no such thing as moral victories though. So, but they show fight, they show heart, but they still lost.
Now I want to ask you about the refereeing or whatever. Now, did you think that was an offensive pass interference, or was it like one of those bang bang situations? With Godwin in the defensive back.
It would be cool if that was just the only call though. But didn't dude rip his helmet off and throw it on the ground? That wasn't called.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like an intentional grounding where he threw the ball with nobody out there? I don't know what that was. That wasn't called. The OPI, he clearly pushed off. You know what I'm saying? So
I wouldn't have called that on that catch, man.
Yeah, it was a bang bang call. I think, to me, honestly, I think that made up for the face mask call that wasn't really a face mask earlier, well before that play even happened at the end of the game. So I think that was a makeup call. And makeup calls are pretty prevalent in all sports. They always happen. So but it looked like on the replay a couple times, the defensive back was kind of hooking. Chris Evans was trying to hook Chris Evans' arm a little bit, but at the same time, I think that was more so. I think Godwin had more of a force with his slight push off. So, the intentional grounding. I'm trying to remember which part. I'm trying to remember which play you talking about. You talking about near the end when Brady kept throwing the ball out of bounds?
No, before that, he went long and it wasn't nobody there. And
all that. Yeah.
I mean, it's Brady, bro. he just seemed to get those calls. Like, I mean, he deserved those calls. He's one of the GOATs. You know what I'm saying? He one of the best quarterbacks, most winning quarterbacks ever. He gonna get those type of calls. So I mean, you got to put yourself in a position where it don't matter.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to play through some of that nonsense, man. With Brady at times, man, he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt at times. Like, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he does get the benefit of the doubt at times. With
Mahomes do too, man. Everybody do.
I mean, yeah, we seen it with Mahomes a bit too, but it's not as egregious. You know what I mean?
This the greatest of all time, man. Maybe in sports. Come on, man.
I ain't gonna say all that. And Eddie just mentioned it too.
Yeah, he be getting some of them passing them roughing the passers. Come on, man.
Yep. And I'm gonna address that real quick, Kyle. You said Dallas cost themselves leaving points on the board. Yes. Cause dog, Tampa Bay became the first team in NFL history to lose the turnover battle by 3, accrue over 100 yards in penalties, give up over 450 yards total offense, and still win the ball game. like, I'm sorry, Dallas, dog, off of 4 turnovers, you only converted into 12 points.
Like you said, them 2 missed field goals in the extra point. That's
7 right there.
Yeah, but against Tom Brady, you gotta convert those into touchdowns, man. I'm sorry, dude. Like, and I just want to address this, man. This what annoyed me more than anything last night. People
sit back and listen, Boogie. Sit back and listen.
People said Kellen Moore called an excellent game, and I disagree with that. Okay, now yes, did Dak ball out? Did he do his job? Yes, absolutely. But I'm looking at these Zeke highlights of whatever of all the runs he had, bro. Like, there was a span in which near the end of the third quarter when he got tackled, and it was like a minute and 16 left. He didn't touch the ball again until it was the fourth quarter. It was 4 minutes and 35 seconds left in the fourth quarter. That is inexcusable. Like, we've seen it with the Cowboys before. They put up great stats on offense. They put up all these numbers and everything. But when you try to go in the shootout, especially with Tom Brady, you cannot go in the shootout with Tom Brady because in the end, you're going to lose. You got to control the clock against a Tom Brady-led team. Everybody will talk about, well, they did control the clock. They had very time possession. No, it's when you control the clock. In that fourth quarter, when they got in field goal range, that's when they should have established the run more than, dog. Like, and another thing, when they did run the ball, they was running at Vita Vea's side for the most part, bro. Like, against Tampa Bay, there's opportunities there. You gotta get him on the edge, or you gotta get Zeke going through the B gaps. He's not an A gap runner. All right. He's more of a zone back, dog. You gotta get him on some stretches and some tosses, man. And when they did run toss plays, when they did run the outside plays, that's where Zeke did most of his damage. Like, there's only one run that I remember from Zeke in which he went backwards. All the other runs, all the other times he touched the ball, he went forward. So I don't get why people said he looked terrible. He did not look terrible, dog. Dallas just gave up on the run too early. Like, they was never out of the game. At the end of the day, when they got in field goal range, that was the time when you're supposed to take over. That's the time when you control the clock.
After that CeeDee Lamb catch.
Yeah, right after the CeeDee Lamb catch. And it just killed me, dog. It just killed me how they kept throwing the ball, bro. Like, you're gonna lose, man. And right when they got that holding penalty on, what was it, 3rd and 16, and made it 3rd and 16 on 3rd and 6, which made it 3rd and 16, that killed them right there. And I see people say that, well, they should have went for it on 4th and 6. Like, no, at that point, you definitely take the points in that situation. But just know that you still in a losing proposition because you gave Tom Brady 1:43 left to go win the game. And bottom line is this. When Dallas has had the most success when Zeke touches the ball 20 or more times. When Zeke has over 20 carries, Dallas is 21-6. 21-6. And that's since Dak's been starting. When Dak has over 40 pass attempts, Dallas is 4-11. That's not good. The last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl is with a running game. It started with Emmitt Smith first, then the passing game with Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin, Jay Novacek, and Alvin Harper. Get back to your bread and butter. Get back to what made you successful. Get back to what got you to the playoffs the last time you appeared in, which is run the damn ball. Remember who 21 is. And another thing.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
One last thing. Here's my issue with former quarterbacks being offensive coordinators at times. Yes, those guys are good at times, but they also get caught up. They can get too pass happy at times and forget to balance out the offense, bro. That's my issue, dog. You gotta have some balance, man. I understand it's a passing league now, but at the end of the day, if you want to win the bowl, you gotta have a strong running game too. You see what happened with the Chiefs when they won the first time? Damian Williams, he touched the ball 20 times. He had over 100 yards total offense. I'm done.
I seen somebody say Bucs defense didn't look good. They crazy. They did look good for what was missing. Dallas offense is good, man.
Man, the only good thing about the Bucs defense was Vita Vea. If it wasn't for Vita Vea, they don't win that game. He was dominant. He was dominant in that fourth quarter.
They front seven is nice. That secondary is trash, like my man said.
That was down two starters, though.
Huh?
It was down two starters.
On the secondary?
Yeah, as the game went on, yeah.
Okay.
I want to talk about that too, because somebody had mentioned how Zeke was supposed to beat that backup safety near that goal line. I'm like, look, y'all don't understand pursuit angles, dog. First off, Blake Jarwin whiffed on that block, bro. And they talk about, well, Zeke's one-on-one. He still supposed to beat that man. Like, dog, the safety had the angle either way, bro. If Jarwin does his job, Zeke is walking in the end zone. So how the hell is it Zeke's fault? Aren't you supposed to? And it's not one-on-one, bro. It's 11 on 11. You're supposed to.
I will say this though. I don't want to see Zeke trying to juke anybody. That's not your game, bro. Run through him, bro. That's your game. Don't try to. That's not you, bro. That ain't you.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, bro, like I can't put that on Zeke. I'm sorry. Could he have put his foot in the ground harder with his left foot and cut it up a little more? Yeah, he maybe could have, but I think the safety. I've seen the play numerous times. I just think the safety had a great angle. It made a great play. People act like backups can't come in and make plays, bro. They the league for a reason, dog. Everybody's good in the NFL, bro. That dude was probably prepared in the film room just in case one of their guys got hurt, man. Hey, these backups be ready at all times too.
I don't think Zeke the same, but I don't think they're using him right though. McCarthy ain't using them running backs right, man.
They not. They not.
10 carries, bro. Like, come on, I don't care how they playing that shit. Nah, man. 10 carries,
bro. And you trying to run him up the middle, dog? Like Zeke's best runs was when he got him on the edge, bro.
We sure we want Dak? If I'm a Cowboy fan, we sure we want him throwing that many times coming off that injury first game? Damn.
You don't. And then Zeke and Dak has never thrown that much in college, bro. At Mississippi State, they ran the ball first before they passed the ball. And and Dak was effective then, dog. I'm not saying Dak can't do it. You clearly seen that Dak can do it last night, but that's not a winning formula long term, bro. Like, at the end of the day, if Dallas don't adjust and get their head on their ass and give 21 the ball, they're going to be a 9-18, bro. It's going to be a close but no cigar. Same old Dallas Cowboys team again, bro.
Here's the good part about it, though. Dallas don't face another playoff team till they play us. And that's like week 10, right?
Yeah, they week 11.
Week 11. So they got like 10 games to get it right. You know what I'm saying? So
they'll be
they definitely gonna win. They in position to win the division.
They should. You got the better quarterback at the end of the day. Everybody knows Ryan Fitzpatrick falls off in the second half of the season.
And it's still gonna be close.
Full-time starter.
Watch.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be close.
Their defense needs some work. Their defense needs some work.
Yeah, dog. And Micah Parsons, he got his welcome to the NFL moment, man, because you knew Tom Brady was gonna go at him, dog. Like
He
Tom
look
Brady.
cool though. I like what I seen from him.
Was that?
He looked cool though, Parsons.
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying he played terrible, but there was times when Brady got him, man, because Brady was being Brady. You know?
Yeah, Brady is Brady, bro. You can't.
Parsons just got to work on his coverage a little bit. That's all. He's got to work on his pass coverage a little bit. That was the only flaw I see in this game right now. But other than that, he's gonna be cool. He's gonna be nice.
Yeah. It was a good game, though. Regardless, it was a good game. You just can't leave Tom Brady a minute and a half, bro. You just can't.
You can't even leave him a minute, dog. Even a minute is too much time for Tom Brady because he's gonna find a way to get it done.
I think I was listening to 610. It might have been 810 though, when they was talking about the Patriots game where we were down 3 and Pat drove down the field in 32 seconds. 32 seconds. It's crazy.
Those are different, man. But anyway, man, let's go on and move past that, man. Let's bring on our special guest for tonight, man. Let's give the people what they're waiting for, man. Everybody knows this guy. This guy used to be on the Chiefs sideline reporting for the Chiefs, man. And now he is the head honcho at Kansas City Sports Network. We would like to welcome BJ Kissel this week to Kingdom Cast. BJ, how you doing?
The prodigal son.
Doing well. Son is almost asleep. So I was just in there with him. I thought he was asleep, snuck out of there, and he just looked at me. He was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Dang it." I was like, I got to go get on a podcast real quick. So I was about half asleep with him. But no, I'm excited to join you guys. We've been talking about this for a long time. And since we all had pizza together a few months ago before any of this came true for any of us. So no, I appreciate the intro. It should be fun, man. Like, guys, football's almost here. Real football.
Yes.
Real football.
Yes. Real football indeed, man. And yeah, man, it was definitely great meeting you over some pizza a couple months ago, man. You gave us solid advice and everything, man. And we're taking it in stride and moving forward. We slowly trying to grow this thing and trying to make it as big as possible, man. So we appreciate your insight and everything.
He paid for the pizza too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think you did.
Nah, you know what? BJ let's go all the way back. So we're Chiefs Twitter, right? We're all Chiefs Twitter, born and bred. BJ was one of those guys. And then BJ was a Arrowhead Pride writer, one of the best. He's still one of the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
And BJ so happened to get the Kansas City Chiefs sideline job. Killed that. He brought them more content, more viewers. Yeah, we giving you your flowers.
Come on, man. Let's go.
You sit back and enjoy it.
I'll come on the show more often. You guys are going to do this on a Friday night. Let's go. No,
Sideline reporter. He gave us great content in the trenches podcast and up the hill and all those things that BJ brought to that team and that organization. Then he leaves that. And then he goes and creates this Voltron called the KC Sports Network, which is amazing, which got a lot of guys that we respect, a lot of guys we love. Kent, Craig, Barley, Bearcat is official. He's unofficially official. You just got 2 new shows, a Mizzou show, a K-State. Man, you are just absolutely killing the game. You are an inspiration, a role model. We all look up to you. You're always there for advice, pizza. Don't do that no more, country. Hey, stop looking at the camera at that angle. That sucks. Don't do that. Like, every time I need you, I can just call you and reach out. I know you be there. It might not be that second, but it might be that next hour. But you're always there, man. I really appreciate you. Before this even became a thing, you were already supporting it and believing in it. And I appreciate you, bro, every day, bro. I know I tell you that a lot. I'm just trying to make
not publicly, not in front of a bunch of other people who are going to make me uncomfortable. No, man. Like, we've talked about this a lot, and I didn't think this is what the podcast was going to be about, man. But it makes me uncomfortable when people say those things. I don't see it that way. Like, I'm not trying. I can't help but 100,000 people, but you reach out to me and you've got a question, man, like I'll help you. I'll meet up with you guys for lunch and we'll sit down and we'll hammer it out. It doesn't need to be on Twitter. We don't have to talk about all that stuff like publicly and all that. It's cool, but I don't see it in any other way but, you know, just helping people out when they have a question or if they have a question about this business or trying to do something. Always try to be a resource for people. I don't have all the answers. I never did. I feel like when people ask me, like, how did you do what you did in the path that you just kind of laid out? And it seems like I have all the answers and it was just some sort of genius, like, holy cow. And then honestly, man, I kept asking. And when I didn't know something, I told people like, I don't know. And I'd ask and I was honest with people and I tried to treat them with respect and do right by people. Whether I was a fan working for the team and trying to connect that. I was proud of myself for never losing that I was always that fan that was on the sideline kind of representing all fans because I grew up one and I was like, I am lucky to be here and have this experience that a lot of people would want to have. So I'm not going to take that for granted. I'm proud to say that I never did. But yeah, KC Sports Network and everything now, it's awesome. With no idea what it's going to become, what it even is. It just launched like 3 months ago and it's taken off. But anybody who's watching, who supported it, we appreciate you guys have been supporting it. Country, Chuck and Boogie, man, Boogie, I probably known you longer than all these other guys, and I talk to them more than you and I go way back to the very beginning. So, no, man, this is fun. I'm glad I could join you guys tonight.
Yeah, BJ. During this current climate, man, we try to give as many people their flowers as we can, man, because we just don't know when it's gonna be our last day, man. So that's why, you know, Country went ahead and, you know, did his little soliloquy, you know, in your favor, and you know, I'm with him on that as well, man. BJ, I think everybody respects you because you've done it organically, man, and that's why you get the respect that you get today, man.
Thank you. It feels like I'm in the DMs with like Kent and Craig and those guys because they do the same thing and they say this stuff like, stop doing that. But no, I appreciate it. Like I said, I've always tried to do right by people and do the right things. And I feel like I believe in karma and doing the right thing. And I just feel better about it. But yeah, let's talk about let's talk about the important stuff. It's never been about me. It's always been, I'm talking to important people. I ask them the right questions and I connect people. Let's get back to that. Let's talk about anything but Tyrann. Anything but
one
Tyrann.
thing, and I'll leave it alone, BJ. I'll leave it alone. This is why I think, and I've told you this plenty of times. You started at the bottom with us. Like the things we doing now, this is what you were doing years ago. And you kept that, like you say, you kept that fan, you kept that same guy. You never changed. I've yelled out your name at playoff games while you were doing interviews, and you were like,
yes, you have.
Come on, man, what? You just stayed the same guy this whole time, man. And knowing what you've told me about the business that I won't share, I know how hard it is to maintain that clear vision, that clear love, that passion. Like, it's amazing, man. We just respect it. You know what I'm saying? So every time we see you out or we're at training camp or I mean, just to take that little bit of time is amazing. And it means a lot to guys like us that were in your shoes, that were doing the same thing. So anyway,
we've all been in those shoes. Thank you, Country. Thank you.
All right, we'll transition to the football now.
Tyrann
Mathieu is the first thing of business. We know that his status is unknown currently, you know, with COVID protocol and everything. To me, it's kind of looking like he may not play, man. And like I seen your tweet earlier, BJ, you know, wishing for his long-term health once he recovers from this. And I want that for Tyrann as well, though. You know, once he gets past this COVID protocol and him being fully recovered and everything. So, you know, with that being said, BJ, I mean, do you feel the same way? Do you feel like Tyrann is going to be missing this Sunday?
Yeah, I think if he doesn't play, obviously you're going to miss him. But I think, that's my dog.
See, your dog loves you too, BJ. Look at it. He just wants to hug you.
You saw me kicking him earlier. I got an 8-month old golden retriever that is
Oh yeah,
Doesn't like the attention not being on him. No, I think
puppy sabotage.
next time I'm he thinks he's a lap dog still. He's about 60 pounds right now. No, I think with Tyrann, people that have followed me for a long time, so you guys know, I don't tweet like an insider. So there's not like a hidden meaning behind the things that I'm tweeting about Tyrann. For a guy who's really active on Twitter, and for a guy that I know, and I don't want to say he needs the game, he's got his family, he's got his priorities straight, but that guy like needs football. Like that guy lives football. So for him, for something like COVID, something that he can't control, to keep him away from the game that he's literally been dreaming of, like about week one, getting out on the field and doing what he was born to do. I just worry about guys in that position because he can't, it's not like an ankle that he can rehab. He's literally just sitting whatever they've got him doing. I don't have any insight. I haven't talked to him. I'm not, like I said, I'm not tweeting like some sort of insider where everyone freaked out on Twitter. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I just feel for the guy. Like, hey, I wish we knew what was going on with him. I think anything on the field, it's obvious, like what we're going to be missing. His instincts, he makes life a lot easier on Baker Mayfield when Tyrann Mathieu's not out there because you can't disguise stuff as much. And so I don't think we have to go a lot into that. I think everyone kind of understands that part of it. But when you start putting Tyrann, Willie Gay, Frank Clark might not play or he's not 100%, then all of a sudden you look at what the Browns can do offensively. You know, they're going to be fired up, and the Browns are a much better team than I think a lot of Chiefs fans are giving them credit for right now. But I still don't imagine a scenario that the Chiefs offense doesn't come out and play well. And if that offense is playing well, it doesn't matter what someone else is going to do because you have to play mistake-free football. And I don't know if the Browns can do that in Arrowhead week one.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, the thing that made me more comfortable or anything that still got me confident about this game is that Spagnuolo came out and said he has a plan A and plan B, you know, whether Tyrann is there or not. So, you know, that's a good sign. And like that gives them credit. I give the coaching staff a lot of credit, man. They stay prepared no matter what. They stay prepared for any situation possible. You know, we ain't got to talk about that Super Bowl, but other than that, man, coaching staff been doing a great job, you know, ever since Andy Reid's been here. Just always staying prepared, you know, just always staying prepared for the unknown.
Yeah, they're not going to have scenarios they haven't played out 1,000 times in their head, and they do their 2 deep, 3 deep. It's just there's certain things that Tyrann can see instinctively and do and set up. And sometimes I think they just let him freelance, and he just does his own thing because whatever he's thinking, whatever he's doing it, the reason is based on football knowledge that other people don't possess in that way. That's what makes him special. And so you're going to be missing that. And that's why I said it makes things a little bit easier on Baker Mayfield where he doesn't have in the back of his mind. Does Tyrann know exactly what we're about to do right here because it's the down and distance, runs a certain part of the field. There's only so many plays you run out of certain formations, and they've got all that info. So most of the guys know when the guys line up, there's probably only 4 or 5 plays that could really come here that they've put on tape before. So it really does narrow it down for the guys who really study. They know what's coming for the most part. And Tyrann's obviously one of those guys.
I like that point, though. Do you think that Chiefs fans are really sleeping on Cleveland? Because I think Cleveland, 53 versus 53, 2 to 53, I think they might have us. They might have the better team, 2 to 53. It's just that one. Is the one in between their one and our one, is that gap so big that it makes it even, or is it close enough that it evens out? Because
I don't care. I don't want to have that conversation. And the only reason why I say is like it's like looking in like 15 years to be like, hey, if you took the greatest football player of all time off that team, like how good would they have been? Like, who cares? He's the greatest football player of all time, and he's on that team. But to your point, yeah, I think in general, I think Chiefs fans have just puffed their chest out a little bit and they go, if we play well, we're going to win. But it's also true. And that's not to be arrogant, but like if the Chiefs go out and play well, at least offensively, they're going to put up 35 points. They're not going to play well and not put up. They're going to play badly and put up 30. Like they're just that talented. Even with that, the horses, even with the horses those guys have up front with Myles Garrett and those guys, which is what I've been talking about all week. I'm really interested to see how they attack early, not just the first 15 and kind of showing all the different personnel groups, the motions. They just do a little bit of Sorry, I caught it with my foot and it was going down.
You're
That would
amazing.
be like a Sports Center top highlight if people would have seen what actually just happened. But no, if I lost my train of thought, but running right at Myles Garrett once you get past like the first 15. Anyway, I've got to figure out what's happening. There's like stuff falling all over me. What?
So how would you, Boogie? How would you attack Myles Garrett? You think our rookies? I want to see the Myles Garrett Orlando Brown matchup. I want to see Clowney versus Niang. I really want to watch Niang because he's the only guy. It's not fair to say out of the rookies, he's the only guy that we question, which is like I don't know why. He got the same amount of experience they got too. So, but he's the only guy that has question marks. Like nobody's questioning Trey, nobody's questioning Creed. It's just Niang is the biggest question mark right now on the whole offensive line. I would say the only question marks where you don't feel certain, you don't feel solid is Brown and Niang, the tackles.
I'll say last time we played Cleveland, we ran it at Myles Garrett. I think that's what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's too good if we run away from his instincts. Myles Garrett, like he really one of the best players for real.
Yeah,
I think we got to run at him a little bit. Tyreek was running at him. McCole had a run towards him in that game too. I think that's what we got to do.
Boogie's paying attention. Because that's what I've been saying the same thing. Normally when we go up against pass, it's not like we haven't gone up against really good pass rushers in the past at times where we didn't have an offensive line that we feel as comfortable as we do with this one. So I was always curious, like, okay, what does Andy Reid do to offset that? Because the answer isn't just sit back and hope Orlando Brown goes one-on-one with Myles Garrett and has a good game. Like they can offset that with a lot of things. And to Boogie's point, they end up doing a lot of the ghost action, the jet sweeps. They get those guys moving because if your defensive end is outside contain and run and he's, to the field side, like he's got to be thinking that when guys are crossing his face, it may make him hesitate just for a split second. And that's the time, that's the difference between a sack or a hurry or a pressure is just that little half a second. And that's what Andy Reid's trying to get. If you can't just line up one-on-one and beat him, you try to get that half second. You can get that with guys moving around him. Or also to Bookie's point, which is what I'm excited to hopefully see, is they just run right at him. I want to see the offensive line be told early in this game, we're going to establish the run. Obviously, you want Patrick Mahomes to throw the football, but they're going to do some power runs right at Myles Garrett to let him know this isn't the same kind of offensive line that was built the last time they faced him, and he can't just pin his ears back and go after Mahomes. I think it's kind of a hat tip to the offensive line because those guys don't play offensive line to pass block. So give them a little bone early and tell them early, like, hey, get fired up because we're going to establish the run and go right at Garrett and get him thinking about us. So I'm hoping that's what we see.
Hey, you know what else? And nobody's talking about. Clyde wasn't in the playoff game, was he?
No, I don't think so.
He didn't play in that. He was hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they really haven't seen that shifty, small running back type of guy from us. And now we got him. We got Daryl the Barrel. I think that's what everybody's calling him now. Mm-hmm. And then we got McKinnon, who is just like, it looks like somebody shoots him out of a gun every time he comes out the backfield. Like McKinnon he's a beast. If you can get him in space, and like BJ was saying, if you can get Myles Garrett to like think just for like half a second or a second, that's enough for Tyreek and guys like that to get past them. And now they're on to the mid level. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see how they go right at Myles Garrett. Like early, like we're not scared. We're going right at you. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we're not going to stop. I like that. I like that mentality.
Now, what I want to talk about is, Jeremiah Owusu-Kamara from the Cleveland Browns is a rookie linebacker. He was talking about he'll be ready for Travis Kelce in his matchup. Now, I like the confidence from the young man, but he's going to realize as soon as Kelce runs that first pivot route, it's going to be different because Denzel Ward, he tried to guard Travis Kelce last year in the playoff game, and Kelce broke his ankles. Going against Travis is not an easy task, man. So, BJ.
In fairness to him, I think that Mike Florio did what Mike Florio does and took something out of context. If you look at the way that the player answered that question, let's just say that whenever you see headlines like that, there's a 98% chance that it was taken out of context because players don't put each other on blast like that. And when they do, every other player in the league knows, like, hey, those guys probably didn't like they didn't like each other before. There's something from college, like guys don't talk about each other like that, and they sure don't do it to Travis Kelce. But what it does do is get a lot of people riled up on social, and Chiefs fans have notoriously become very easy clickbaiting people that will click on this stuff as a fan base when you put it out there. And the more that we do it, the more that Mike Florio will continue to do this. He's been doing it for years since Boogie and I were at Arrowhead Pride 15 years ago.
Man.
So
you know what? Speaking as a guy, like we said, you started off from Chiefs Twitter, one of those guys. Mm-hmm. Why is it so easy to bait Chiefs fans right now? Why are we so overprotective? Why are we so?
Because they care. You're invested. You're invested. Like, you're legitimately invested, and I can say that, and I'm biased because I am one. But I've lived in other places, and I know it's like San Diego is like a transplant city anyway, so it's probably a bad example. But like, Chiefs fans like legit have a bad Sunday if the Chiefs lose. In other places, they're just like, that sucks. And if they wasted the money and went to the game and they played like crap, like, I just lost all that money. But like, Chiefs fans like legitimately care about winning and losing, and like it means something. They're emotionally invested into it. And so when you get on social media and you see something, it happened. So perfect example, the other day, I saw buddy Murphy McGuire. He's an agent for Octagon. Jakeem Grant is one of his guys. He's like, the dream is here. Is his Twitter. He plays for the Dolphins. And he quote tweeted the video that said fastest guy in the NFL. And like, he's hyping his guy. And as a Chiefs fan, my immediate reaction is like, I'm contractually obligated as a member of Chiefs Kingdom to say something about Tyreek. And then I was like, that is so stupid. He can hype his guy up and he can have confidence in his guy. And you don't have to be the, actually Twitter. So I actually pushed back, didn't say anything. I was going to text it to him and be like, that's not even true. Even Jakeem Grant will tell you that Tyreek is faster than he is. But in general, I think it's, to your point, I think it's just because they care and we care. And people say stuff, we get riled up, but it also takes all of us educating people on how the media works and how you can get manipulated as a fan base, which is why I get annoyed about all of it, is because you're getting played in a way to generate interest. It's digital media tricks, and it does the players no favors. Now the fan base is going to think that this guy is talking crap on Kelce, so then some fan's going to yell at him, and it's just like, come on, guys, this is all stupid.
Yeah. We are easy clickbait. I think also, though,
everybody is, but yeah,
we're not used to being hunted. Like, we're used to hunting the title and chasing. And now that we are the guy, now that we are the man, no arrogance or whatever, it's just like, I don't think we're used to it yet. We're not there yet where we're comfortable being in that spot. Like, Tom Brady is used to it. Like, I bet nothing you can say can bother Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying, at this point. But he's used to it. He's been doing it for 20 years. We've been doing it since 2018, and I think we're still in that spot where we're like, we're overprotected, like that on every single comment, no matter how big or how small or how slight it is. Like, Dove, what's his name? Dove Kleiman? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Dove Kleiman, yeah.
Yeah, he can get us. He can get Chiefs Kingdom whipped up in such a fury, and it don't even be nothing. It's nothing. Like, Florio's another one too. So, what's the guy? I don't want to talk bad about him because BJ's on here and he's such a professional. Biscuit Chan. What's he do?
The what?
The dude that likes the Oreos and talks about the Royals all the time.
I have no idea.
Skip it. Never mind. Somebody know who I'm talking about.
Listen, if it's not KC, I can't even say the Chiefs now. If it's not KC Sports Network or whatever my 6-year-old is watching on YouTube, which is generally other kids playing video games, then I don't know what's going on in the world. Like, that's my life. My son's baseball team. So outside of that, I have no idea what's going on.
Kids, do they play Roblox?
No, but I know what that is. We've tested those waters, but we have not gotten into that. Right now we're in the craft stage, but every time they make this cool thing, my idiot golden retriever eats it. So then we have a full-on meltdown every time we have some sort of project that's made, because 20 minutes later it's chewed up in the corner. So
well, both of my kids were playing Among Us this morning before they got dressed to go to school, and it was a fight.
You mother.
It was a fight to get that phone and that iPad so they can get dressed for school.
My son watches other people, not even live, like other people's recorded versions of playing that game. Like, I don't understand it, but same thing that my parents said about me, I'm sure, when I was playing Star Fox on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I didn't know Among Us was still a thing. I thought that was over with.
Is Clubhouse still around? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it's still.
Or we're just having random conversation. That was so that was like 2 months ago. It was like gonna change everything, and then just Twitter Spaces.
Like, nah.
Everybody else
taking this over.
I think Snapchat came out. And Instagram's like, all right, we can do that too.
Definitely, man. So I got a question for you, BJ. In regards to the defense, like we know there's question marks heading to Sunday about the defense. How confident are you in, seeing how Brett Veach addressed the depth overall defensively?
I'll be the first one to say, and people thought this was some sort of take for me, but I was questioning the cornerback depth early. I thought they needed to bring in a veteran, a guy that had been around a little bit longer, just from a roster composition standpoint, you had a lot of young guys. And like Charvarius Ward, Mike Hughes, DeAndre Baker, Rashad Fenton, like there's a lot of young dudes just to have one veteran in that room. And I know that when you look at the entire DB room, Tyrann Mathieu can move into different rooms, but I still thought it didn't have to be Josh Norman or Richard Sherman. It didn't have to be like this marquee big name guy, but just a guy who's been in the league for 7 years, who started some games, that if you needed to put a guy out there that has played at this level, that you would have that kind of fallback option. And I was surprised that they didn't. And then I watched the games and realized that that's why the scouts are good at what they do, because those cornerbacks played really well. That was the question of the defense for me in the preseason, was not just how's it going to shake out, but it's, you're counting on either Mike Hughes or Rashad Fenton just to step in. Snead's going to be a guy. You've already kind of penciled him in as some, he's going to either ascend, or he's going to be a really, really good young player, or he's going to be a standout star that everyone in the league is going to know about by the time the season is over, just because you're playing primetime games and the guy keeps making plays. His name's going to stand out. But the cornerback depth was worrisome to me. I love what they did with Jaron Reed. I don't think that ever got enough pub when it happened, just because you don't talk about those types of positions until you see how they interact, and how having disruption next to Chris Jones, and how Jaron Reed's going to allow Chris Jones to move around, and just the whole puzzle is going to fit together in a really cool way. With Steve Spagnuolo, a guy that we know is very, as you mentioned, Chuck, before, always prepared and very, very creative. So I'm excited to see what those blitzes look like and the ones they've been saving. I'm sure Baker Mayfield is going to see a few of them.
BJ, who are you more worried about this week? Odell Beckham or Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb. Yeah, I think Odell can go out there and make plays if he plays and he's healthy and whatever ends up happening with that. But if Chiefs don't win this game, and it's not about controlling the clock, this or that, it's just Nick Chubb's the best player on that offense. And if he's rolling and that offensive line is rolling, and again, if we don't have Willie Gay and we don't have Frank Clark, and the other team's good too, what is the old line? Like, those guys are on scholarship too. So you can't just expect us to get up there and just beast every single time. As good as we think Chris Jones, one of the best defensive players in the league, that's how they feel about Myles Garrett. And then they got Jadeveon Clowney, and they've got all these guys around him who could step up. Malik McDowell is one of those young, like our Tershawn Wharton is their Malik McDowell, who was one of the top prospects coming out of Michigan State a few years ago before that injury he had up in Seattle. Now you start to see highlights of him. If he's putting it together, that's a guy who's going to be in one-on-one situations with everything else they've got going on around them. So if Nick Chubb gets going, I will be worried. If Odell goes out there and makes plays, you're going to expect him to make a couple plays on the ball and do something, but Nick Chubb can control things if he's rolling, because that means the offensive line, that means play action passing opens up. Got to stop that first.
Yeah, because I feel like they are going to try to. I feel like in the first half, I feel like Cleveland is going to try to slow the game down, and of course, keep Patrick off the field, because that's the same way you got to beat Tom Brady. Try to keep him off the field as much as possible, and like you mentioned, controlling the clock and everything. But like you said, if the Chiefs can get Cleveland in some long third down situations somehow, some way, they'll be fine.
You just need some negative plays. You just got to get guys different. With Nick Bolton, if he's making plays at or behind the line of scrimmage, I'd rather have that. I'd rather have him fly down and miss a tackle because he's going 100 miles an hour and it turns into a 15-yard gain every once in a while. Because if he does that consistently and you don't play hesitant football. I don't want a linebacker right now who's going to make a tackle and keep it to a 3 or 4 yard gain and keep it to 2nd and 6. Give me the guy that may miss a couple and lead to a big play, but every third time he's going to make a play at the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 11 and they got to pass twice, and then all of a sudden you can control things a little bit. I think that's where the Chiefs as a offense versus defense and how they play together, I think that's the best scenario, because you're just trying to steal possessions. If you're the Chiefs, you're trying to steal a turnover or a negative play that leads to basically a dead possession, because you shoot a gap and you're right, and all of a sudden there's a loss of 2 yards and it's 2nd and 12. It's going to be a really hard time for them to convert, and you just stole a possession, as opposed to not going. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but just not making a play behind the line of scrimmage. So that's what I want to see with Nick Bolton. If we're seeing that, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah.
Do you think Cleveland gets into that spot where, like every time we play Baltimore, they just randomly play? They do things out of character, because you feel like you got to score on the Chiefs. Like you feel like you got to make. I need 7. I can't take this 3. I need 7, and then it pulls them out of their game plan, and they do things they're not comfortable with. You think Cleveland can be a victim of that?
That's all up to Stefanski. I mean, that's all up to how their coach is going to handle it. As much as we talk about the players on the field, I mean, this is a young, up-and-coming coach in a lot of ways, too, that's talented, has a lot of respect around the league, and most of the coaches do. So let's not say that it's not common. But a guy that a lot of people are looking at, and it's not like they've got, I don't want to throw some name out there, but some veteran coach that you knew was going to be successful and bring them along. I mean, this is a young football team with a young head coach, and they all need to prove themselves on the big stage, which means, like you say, you're sitting at the 42-yard line against the Chiefs and you got a 4th and 2. Are you going to punt it? Like, those are the kind of decisions as a head coach that everyone on the team is going to be looking at you like, hey, what do we do here? We've seen what Baltimore does. That's the way that John Harbaugh, they're going for it. That's just the way that they're wired, and it goes from the head coach all the way through, and it gets the players fired up because they know what their coach is going to do. Maybe Cleveland, maybe the players internally know, but from an outside perspective, I can tell you right now, John Harbaugh is going for that. I don't know about Kevin Stefanski. Maybe we learn how aggressive he's going to be and how much he leans on his defense. And is he going to feel like the defense is going to be upset about not trusting him if they go for it? You know what I mean? Like, those are the dynamics that matter to coaches. Can he look Myles Garrett in the eye, and Myles Garrett comes back to him and said, hey, we feel like we could stop him. And Kevin Stefanski has to look him in the eye and be like, I love your confidence, but it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and have it not be a slight to him. They need to be able to have those kinds of conversations. Anyway, it's getting way into it, but those are the kind of things that I'm excited to see with a young coach that has got a confident team. And freaking Cleveland's good. They're going to win that division. I think they're better than Baltimore. So I don't think this is the last time that we're going to see Cleveland, and this is a great test for them early. And if the Chiefs don't win this game, week 2, Baltimore primetime, like, you can't go 0-2 to start the season in the AFC when you start looking at tiebreakers and home field advantage now. Like, it's big.
I think Cleveland will be aggressive. I think they're going to come out aggressive. They know they have to score. They seen that game just like we did last night. Come kicking field goals against the Chiefs, it ain't going to work. They're going to be aggressive. I think Baker going to have a pretty big game too.
That's interesting. Baker, this is his contract year, so. But my thing is this: this is a fully packed Arrowhead Stadium this time. In the playoff game, we didn't have that. I think it's just gonna be a little too much for Baker now Has Baker won in tough environments before? Yeah, he won in college, beat Ohio State and all that. But this is different, man. This Arrowhead Stadium, and if you're constantly in third and long situations throughout the game against the Chiefs, good luck. It's gonna be a rough day for you.
Hey, BJ, here's the question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it all is about confidence, and whether it's Baker Mayfield. I don't think anything's gonna rattle Baker Mayfield. Like, that dude is confident. He's gonna go out there and play, and he's coming off. I think he had a QBR like 95 last year, and he had the best year of his career. Baker Mayfield is a blossoming top 8-ish type quarterback who could have a year where all of a sudden you see him as a top 5 quarterback. He's got that kind of talent, and it's going to be a huge test for him. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be too big for him. But I love the confidence from the Chiefs defensive backs and just being Juan Thornhill right now, knowing you can go try to make a play on a ball. You don't have to play hesitant. You don't have to play scared as a DB, because if you miss if you go for something and you're wrong and you give up a big touchdown, you've got 15 on the other side who's going to pick you up, drive you down, and score. And again, it goes back to the same thing of not hesitating to shoot a gap to make a play in the running game. Same thing with those DBs. Go make a play on a ball. You see like a double move, you see starting to slow down, or you got some kind of key on his route. Go try to take the ball away and pick off a ball, because where you will see the pressure from Baker, and you bring into the crowd into it. They get down early. Like, that's the worst. That's the only reason I could see them running the football, and has nothing to do with anything other than just keeping the crowd out of it. It's going to be hype at the beginning of the game. It's going to be going crazy. You know that early. And what does the first 6 to 8 minutes of the game look like? And is the crowd going really, really crazy? And that's where the Cleveland's going to say, okay, we're going to try to run the football, pick up 6 yards 4 consecutive times, and all of a sudden everybody's sitting down. So that's where I could see it may make a difference. But I don't think Baker's going to get rattled unless they get down early, and he knows those DBs are just sitting on stuff because they're playing with so much confidence, because they know it's okay to be wrong because we're still going to score 35 points. They don't think they can when they know what's coming.
So I wanted to ask you, you've had a lot of jobs and wore a lot of hats. How do you watch football? Do you watch it as BJ, a fan? Do you watch it as BJ reporter? Do you watch it as BJ storyline? How do you watch the game these days?
It's hard. Like, I used to compartmentalize everything. I had lists of everything I needed content for or nuggets for, and I just had all this paper in front of me. So I was always writing and tweeting, and Matt McMullen and I had our processes, and we were up in the press box going through everything. But now it's different. I'm enjoying, last year was a little awkward just because with COVID and the seasons and everything, but I didn't know how to watch the game. It was like, what am I looking for? I don't have to ask guys questions. I don't care. And it's just hard to watch it on TV because you can't see as much. Or I'd spend a lot of time looking on the sideline, how they're interacting, who's talking, where are the trainers. I know the people who are down there. So when just some random person is meeting and the TV's like, oh, the trainer or assistant trainer, I'm like, that's not who that is. That's security guy. They're not, that guy's fine. So that kind of stuff's fun to kind of pick up and watch when you're watching the game. But now this year I'll probably be really quiet because we'll be watching it at a bar out in Overland Park where we're doing our live post-game show for KC Sports Network. Kent Swanson and I will be out at the Bullpen Bar and Grill out in OP in the Kansas Burbs. We'll be out there for at least this Sunday. The bar that is going to be the home of our post-game show we announced earlier, but it's called the Kingdom Bar and Grill, and it's going to be done in about a month. So it's gotten backed up a little bit because of COVID with some construction delays. So we are homeless until then. We're going to start at the Bullpen for this week, and then we'll see over the next couple weeks. But once we get to that new one, I'll be at the Kingdom Bar hanging out with Kent watching the game. But I also don't like when people try to talk to me during the game because I'm paying attention to stuff. So I'm not a chatty person. And if you're trying to talk to me and you're getting mad because I'm not paying attention, maybe I'm talking about my wife, but I will not be paying attention to whatever they're chit-chatting about. I'm into the game. Yeah. So if you're talking about what you see, we can be on the same page, but yeah, it's not social to sit back. I'm trying to pick up on stuff.
All right. So that's gonna be fun. We're gonna be looking forward to
it's gonna be fun. Go support
that, BJ, for sure. Just because we're kind of running short on time, we're just gonna kind of wrap this up with asking you about how how you see the game playing out, BJ? Like we know we see the Chiefs winning it, but like, do you have like a score prediction or anything?
I said 35-17 before. I think 35 is like the sweet spot for me. That I think it was that 2018 season. I think they ended up like 36.3 points per game, and they were like 1 point behind the Broncos. I know that number because we talked about that stat so much. That's right in as like 38.4 might be the record from the Broncos in 03. But anyway, 35-17 seems like where I think it's going to end up. A lot of that will depend on, is Tyrann playing, is Frank playing? Because I think those are big pieces, especially week one when there's going to be a lot of adrenaline, some new faces out there on the defense. And those are the times where you need the veterans to calm everyone down, lean on guys like Anthony Hitchens and Chris Jones, not just to make plays, but to settle the adrenaline of all of the guys who are around them and let them know just that it's still just a football game, because it's really easy for those guys to just, it becomes so much more than just go play a football game. You got the crowd, especially it's going to be, Arrowhead should be fun. It's going to be loud. It's going to be fun to witness that on the screen. But yeah, 35-17 is my score. Chuck, what do you guys have for the score?
I don't do scores. I just do wins.
You're not getting away with that. You're not getting away with that. You put a score on this country.
Stamp it.
I went all last year without giving scores, and then BJ walks in. Now I got to give him.
Yeah, and we lost the Super Bowl, and I'm also a superstitious person, so you mixed it up. Or part of it's on you if we don't win the Super Bowl this year. How about that?
I'm really digging Eddie High's score of 31-20. I like that score.
Eddie High, the star of Chiefs training camp.
Man.
So
he got a lot of
follow
flowers
at
this year.
Eddie High t-shirts. They give away.
Eddie High, he's amazing. He's amazing.
But
What you
what's
got?
the score?
I was happy for Eddie, man. I was happy for Eddie. He built his brand up huge during training camp. So happy for the guy, man.
Shout out Eddie.
Boogie, what you got, man?
I got a 31-24.
7-point game. Okay. All right. For me, I think the Chiefs can definitely cover the spread, man. I've been hearing all this talk from other people I talk football with. They talk about, man, the Chiefs gonna cover this time. Y'all wouldn't cover many games last year, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a new season, man. Just sit back and enjoy the show. All right, so I like that 35, BJ. I'm gonna go 31-17. I'm gonna roll with that.
Ooh.
Okay,
defense.
And then BJ, one more thing, man. Actually, two more things.
Yep.
Do you see a Super Bowl rematch this year between the Chiefs and the Bucs?
If both teams stay healthy, yeah. If the Bucs stay healthy enough to get into the playoffs, I just don't know if Tom Brady's healthy and those receivers are healthy. They're just on the same page. I mean, they illustrated it so well last night that these guys, their mental acuity and Gronk and Godwin and all those guys, like they're going to be good. And if those defensive guys, again, stay healthy, Shaq Barrett, Devin White, like those guys, they're making plays all over the place. So the Rams are the one team that I think are going to give them trouble. I think I'll go on record right now saying that I think Matt Stafford is going to have the best year of his career. I think Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay together, I think Matthew Stafford is going to be a top 5 quarterback and an MVP type of candidate this season. If those receivers, if Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp stay healthy, Darrell Henderson stays healthy, I really, really think that Sean McVay has a quarterback. I think Jared Goff was a solid quarterback. A lot of ways that parallels in certain ways to what the Chiefs were years ago. And then they get a gunslinger and a guy who can, with his arm, do a lot of things. And I don't think he ever got enough credit for how good Matthew Stafford is. So he's my secret guy. I've been trying to get in every fantasy league I have because I think he's going to have a huge season. But the Rams I can see stepping up because you got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and Stafford and those guys, those weapons on offense. And Sean McVay's pretty good. So that could be the other team.
And then one last question, man. We all think the Chiefs gonna go back, of course, but if there is one team in the AFC that can maybe take down the Chiefs and get in the bowl, who do you think it is?
Cleveland's not a bad. I mean, Cleveland and Buffalo are the two that jump right out for different reasons. Cleveland's defensive line and that front is really, really, really good. Those guys got to stay healthy. Baker's got to stay on the trajectory he's at. I think we've seen Baker play at a really, really high level, and we've seen him get better since he's been in the league. We've seen him improve every year. He took a huge step last year. And you start to look back at the first couple of years of his career, and I don't have it memorized, but Freddie Kitchens and some of this stuff that he was dealing with, like now he's got a coach and a guy that is widely respected by a lot of different coaches from different trees, not just the one that he came from. And so I think we're going to see Cleveland take a huge step forward. I don't think it necessarily means this Sunday, but I'm not going to be surprised if Cleveland finishes the season with 11 or 12 wins. I think they're that good.
One team that people are just sleeping all of a sudden, like ever since they acquired Julio Jones, I think people are really sleeping on the Tennessee Titans. Like people really think their defense is not going to be that good, and I think people are wrong. Their defense is going to be better than what people think. And not to take a full grain of salt, I'm going to take this with a full grain of salt. They was the number one defense in the preseason. Again, it's just preseason, but, Mike Vrabel, he can coach defense. That's what he was known for in New England, playing under Belichick. He was a great linebacker there. So I think
they're going to have so many games canceled because of COVID. Tennessee.
Right. Exactly.
They don't think it exists down there. So, like, it'll be fine.
I went to Nashville for a wedding. It wasn't a mass in sight, man. I'm
not saying anything about it. I love Nashville. I'm just saying
I do too.
That team seems to have a lot of COVID issues. Did last year. They were saying, hey, we're not doing this. Or the videos, kind of like the Drew Lock thing over in Denver, like taking the masks off, not taking it seriously. Like, that's going to affect things. And we already saw it with Zach Martin and the Cowboys. So, I think that Tennessee is going to be a really good football team. It's just hard for me because, the team's built around Derrick Henry, and they run play action, and now they got Julio and A.J. Brown or whatever. Well, A.J. Brown was wide open anyway. Like, now Julio, have two guys who are wide open. Like, it doesn't change, I think, offensively how dangerous they are. And I know it sounds weird to say, but I don't think it changes their identity a whole lot. I don't think it makes them slightly better, but not all of a sudden like, holy cow, because it's still about Derrick Henry and it's still about the play action passing. And I still don't think that if they're down by 14 points, that Ryan Tannehill, even with Julio Jones and AJ Brown, is going to sit back there and pick you apart defensively and keep up with Patrick Mahomes. I just don't think they're built like that. And I don't think the Chiefs are not going to score 35 points. So I can't see Tennessee scoring 35 points.
I agree. He's right. The man is right.
Tennessee may be better than Cleveland
Just
this year for me.
Tennessee better than Cleveland?
I think so. I'm gonna go with that this year. I'm a believer in Tennessee.
Well, we've known Boogie for a long time. He's a fan of plants. We know this.
Hey, if everybody had the same takes all the time, then that would be a really boring place.
Right. Exactly. Love you.
AJ Brown's always open, so Julio will be open too, and Derrick Henry's gonna have the ball. So
right. It works. Derrick Henry is a beast, though. He really is. But you can't score 35 running Derrick Henry. I don't think so.
You see that guy in person, and I will say this: I got a story about Tyrann Mathieu because it was the game that I already had a lot of respect for Tyrann Mathieu, but you went to that playoff game where they shut down Derrick Henry. You see Derrick Henry in person in pads. He's the largest human being I've ever seen. He literally walked by me, and I was just I cannot believe people have to try and tackle that dude. And you see Tyrann Mathieu, who's not the biggest dude anyway. Even when he's in pads, you see Tyrann Mathieu standing next to Derrick Henry after lighting him up and just flying down, not slowing down at all, throwing all his body and then getting up and just screaming in his face. I think fans would have a different perspective on NFL player and everything if there were mics that picked up everything that's said on the field. But to see Tyrann Mathieu and his size just throw his body around and knock Derrick Henry around, you're like, how just locked in are these dudes that little dude can make that big dude go down quickly? Because I don't know how that guy is moved an inch. It's a different world when you get down there and you see it up close.
Okay, last question.
You keep saying that. I'll see here for another 40
this is the
minutes.
last one. That's right. That's right. So besides Pat, of course, Pat, how many players have actually pulled you out of chief reporter to, oh my God, did you see what he just did?
Ooh, I thought you were going to say like, oh my God, that's so-and-so. I never had that. I never had that moment. I never had it with current players because they're younger than I am. And like most of them are like kind of younger. So I never had that until I saw Christian Okoye the first time. And I was just like, oh my God, that's the Nigerian nightmare. Are you kidding me? Like I was going to go get an autograph like on a game day. And it was funny because the old VP of business ops for the Chiefs, Bill Chapin, the guy who actually made the decision to hire me initially, he saw me like walking towards him. And this is one of my first games, and he goes, BJ, you can't go get an autograph. I go, how do you know what I was about to do? He goes, because you just had this fan look on your face. He's like, you've got a job to do. I was like, damn it, Bill. But he caught me. But that was the one time I had that. But the like in awe moments, the first time that like Tyreek at like rookie minicamp, his first time getting out on the field and seeing that dude up close and how fast, not just fast, but quick. And athletically, it's a completely different thing. And so anybody that ever season ticket members, they have that like first look practice at OTAs where you can go see these guys like in shorts. Every time they do that, Andy Reid will always call plays that show off things that are just unique that fans want to see in person. So if you go to like a first look as a season ticket member, you use your points, however fans would get there. I know you've been there, country, so I remember talking to you at one of them, but like go to those things, use your points for that, because Andy Reid will always kind of like the first day of training camp. They have that afternoon practice and there's always like a couple of bombs that they throw. Like they do that stuff on purpose. They also do it at that first look and you can see Tyreek run up close. And that was the first time I remember talking to Sam Ellinger about it. Just like, that's different. Like, and we had just seen D'Anthony Thomas the year before, who was crazy. Like these guys are all fast, but for somebody, the first time he stepped out on the field, like that's a whole different level of speed. That was the first thing that was enamored. And then obviously Patrick Mahomes throwing the football. Like that throw he had in the Titans preseason game, his rookie year, where Marcus Peters is going crazy. Threw it to D-Rob. It's still one of the top 2 throws I've ever seen in an NFL game ever. And no one ever really shows that play because it was a meaningless like first preseason game. But as the play, I think Kevin Dodd got hurt. It was against the Titans. I think Kevin Dodd tore his ACL on the play because he's the one who hit Mahomes afterwards. But I think it was Kevin Dodd. But that was still one of the craziest throws I'd ever seen. I was sitting next to the same Mallinger was sitting right in front of me in the press box, and everyone just lost their mind. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like that video game throw he did against the Falcons in the preseason game, that ball just hung up there for so long, and Tyreek ran on through. I was like, man, that reminded me of Tecmo Super Bowl, man.
I missed that one.
How much that ball?
I was on the sideline for that one, and I missed that throw. I was doing something, I wasn't paying any attention.
Yeah.
So, hey man, we already embarrassed you enough in the beginning, but we really appreciate you, man. We really do. For somebody that like me, that I talk a lot, and I know I talk a lot because I talk to you a lot, and but you always got time, man. You it's never been a bad idea or country you're out of your mind. Even though sometimes anyway,
I'm always honest. You
always honest. BJ is always not brutally honest, but very calm, honest, very measured, a great guy, a great man, a great father. I see your son out there hitting baseballs and flip-flops.
Got a game tomorrow morning.
So, hey, man, good luck, man. Good luck to the little guy, man.
Hey,
but,
thank you.
We really appreciate you, man. We really do, man. I look up to you, even though I might be older than you, I think. That's kind of crazy. But anyway.
I'm old. But no, man, I appreciate you guys for having me on, and I appreciate the relationship that we've all had. And some people listening, they see it publicly, and most of our conversations and most of the stuff you do behind the scenes that people don't see to help each other out. So I think if nothing else from the conversation and the embarrassment, just know that do good things for good people because it's the right thing to do. You know, I've always felt like the next thing, it's always the right time to do the next right thing. And somebody said that to me once, and it just stayed with me, because you keep making good decisions, right decisions, helping people out. You'll always, at the end of the day, feel good about it. So in some ways, it's uncomfortable because I feel selfish by giving my time to help you guys, because it makes me feel good to know that I'm helping and that I'm in a position that I can help people, which makes me feel really uncomfortable to say. And my guy, like KCSN guys know this more than most, but I appreciate your guys' support for everything that we've got going on. And we all support every platform. We all help each other, man. It's a beautiful thing amongst Chiefs fans, while we all bicker amongst everybody at some point in there. At the end of the day, we all love the same things and all wired the same ways.
Yeah, most definitely. So with that being said, that's another episode of Kingdom Cast. Everybody don't get to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Till the next episode, we are out of here, people.
Go Chiefs.
Official Chiefs gear too. Shout out to Nico Johnson. I appreciate the shirt. I couldn't fit it when he first got it to me.